Hey folks, I'm Chaz, and this is the Critical Toke. Welcome back. So last time I said I'd tell you about a much better alternative to the Rebel Moon movies. So let me introduce, or reintroduce, 1980's Battle Beyond the Stars. Like Rebel Moon, this movie is also a remake of The Seven Samurai. With a budget of an estimated $2 million, this was the most expensive movie to come out of Roger Corman's production house. Written by John Sayles, directed by Jimmy T. Murakami, and scored by James Horner, Battle Beyond the Stars was conceived by the B-movie master Corman to take advantage of the money train that at one point in time was Star Wars. Richard Thomas, already famous to TV audiences as John Boy Walton, starred as Shad. Add Hollywood stalwarts like George Papard as Cowboy, and Richard Vaughn as Gelt, which was almost the same role that he did as Lee in The Magnificent Seven. And oh my god, Sybil Danning as Saint X-Men. As you watch the movie, you'll notice that Sybil Danning in her Valkyrie costume is not on the screen any longer than 30 seconds as it's shot. That's because her costume had the functional lifespan of 30 seconds, and they had to stop filming every once in a while to, put her back in. Another notable of the film is that this was the first big break of James Cameron. You mean 3 times Academy Award winner James Cameron? Yeah, that James Cameron. Battle Beyond the Stars was Cameron's first big break, and he was referred to Roger Corman by Gail Ann Hurd, who would later become his wife and producing partner. It also featured the carpentry talents of Bill Paxton. The story holds the same elements as The Seven Samurai. Evil raiders, helpless farmers, and bad guys turn good guys looking for their shot at redemption. But screenwriter John Sayles was, and is, a talented screenwriter who understood story and characterization. He understood that by switching to a genre like science fiction, you couldn't keep the story exactly the same as it was in The Seven Samurai. So instead of a bandit leader looking to feed his men, the main bad guy, Sador, is now a conqueror. He wants to control as much of the universe as possible, and if he doesn't get it, Sador wields the dreaded stellar converter with the power to turn a planet into a star. I love these movies, and I can't tell you how much I love it when you can tell that somebody fell asleep during science class in high school. So, in Seven Risings, Sador will return, for the people of Akira, named for Akira Kurosawa, to submit to his rule or die. Alright. I can tell by now you're saying, hey, the title said there were starships with boobs. Where are my starship boobs? Well, here you go. Meet the premier starship of this movie, Nell. It's actually the name for the ship's AI that Shad uses on his search for the warriors that he'll need to protect Akira from the evil Sador. Since Cameron was the head model maker, I'm fairly certain that Nell is his baby. And thank you for making this one of the most iconic starships in all of science fiction. And see Nell you will. Corman would go on to use the same special effects in numerous other movies. If you're trying to get your mileage out of every dollar, Corman knew how to do it. I'm not going to rehash the entire movie and bore everybody who's seen it, nor am I going to ruin it completely for those who haven't. But the reason I prefer Battle Beyond the Stars to Rebel Moon movies is that the story's much tighter and it makes sense. There's absolutely no way that you're going to convince me that a capital ship from a universe-spanning empire has to raid planets for food. A ship like that would have to be surrounded by tenders, making sure that they had every supply it needed. Seriously, this thing takes a space cooch to at least 3 places during both movies. Its travel isn't limited in any way, so there's no need to pick this one spot for food. And in 90 minutes, Battle Beyond the Stars gives us a great cast of characters. Each of the warriors here has their own story, their own personality. In a competent screenwriter's hands, it doesn't take much to make characters come to life. And really, for this story, they don't need much, but what they do get is much more than the hollow archetypes that Snyder delivers. Battle Beyond the Stars is not what you would call a great film. Hell, if it showed up on anybody's top 100, I would suggest a CT scan to check for possible stroke and an immediate drug screen. But it works. It's fun. It takes you away for an hour and a half, and it doesn't completely insult you or insist you forget half the plot while it's doing it. It's faithful to the original film in which it's based, but it still carves out its own story to make itself unique. Now, of course, if you're a special effects whore, this movie may not be for you. This is chock full of vintage 1980s B-movie special effects which, let's be honest, are kind of like Vegemite. You either have to grow up with it or by some unknown mechanism develop a taste for it. But the special effects shouldn't be the stars of the show. They're there to help immerse you in the setting, to help the people, places, and things they represent become a little more real. And yeah, I'll admit, bad effects can strain your woeful suspension of disbelief. But when you have a good, strong story and good, strong characters, I have yet to come across the movie whose bad effects destroy it completely. Seriously, if all you care about is the special effects, you're obviously the type that goes to the puppet show and looks at the strings. And if you haven't seen Battle Beyond the Stars and you do get the chance, find some friends, some of your favorite personal, and enjoy. Folks, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed yourselves, and do me a favor, help a beginner out, and like, share, and subscribe, and be sure to hit the recommend button and the bell to let you know when I post again. Again, folks, thank you very much. Later days.